Hey guys, what's poppin'? I've been a little bit under the weather, but I want to do some catch up because I want to talk about something that's super important to me today. And it's how I go about teaching. So I want to talk about how I go about teaching because when you're working from home or working out and about, your teaching style tends to change just a little bit. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. Excuse my voice, it might go in and out. Recovering from that nasty respiratory bug that's been going around. So I'm going to try to talk low and hopefully I get through this without coughing a little bit or too much. So we're going to be doing some catch-up work because I've been sick for a few weeks now. So I keep trying to think, I'm going to be better this week or better the next week. But the reality is it's all about when your body feels better. So excuse me for that. We will be catching up as I can and as soon as possible. So thank you for being here. So today I want to talk about the fact that I don't teach from a platform. So I'm not always here. I'm not always live. A lot of times I like to meet my people in person, or I'm having a lot of Zoom calls. The platform may look different depending on what day it is and who it is and where they are. So we're going to talk about how I don't teach from a platform. I teach from a tent. And that actually comes from a story in the Bible. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. I want to tell you a story. And as mentioned, it comes from the Bible. But you might be surprised. You might be surprised at how much it has to do with you. How much it has to do with your business, your foundation, your ability to sustain what you're building, and why it sometimes feels harder than it should. So before I start, let me ask you something. Who here knows the story of Jael? Her story. Have you ever heard of Jael? For some, this might be a reminder. For others, it may be the first time you're hearing it. So that's exactly why it matters, right? This story, it isn't about trust. It's not about deception. And it's not about betrayal. It's about something quieter, much stronger. It's about recognizing who you already are and what you already have in your hands, your tools, the tools that you use for your trade. It's about you. So at the time, there was this battle going on. This army commander named Sisera was fleeing for his life. He didn't run into a palace. He didn't run into a fortress. He happened to run into Jael's tent. She welcomed him in, gave him some milk, covered him so he could rest, made him feel safe. While he slept, thinking he had found comfort, Jael used the tools she handled every day as a tent woman, and she ended the battle right there in her tent. So she didn't go looking for a sword. She used what she already had in her hands. She didn't step onto a battlefield the moment came to her space. She didn't become someone else. She stayed exactly who she was. That's how I teach. I don't teach from a grandiose platform. I teach from a tent. I don't come to you with borrowed theories, loud motivation, or strategies that only work in perfect conditions. I come to you with tools I've handled for decades. Tools I used in nonprofit boardrooms, tools I used in corporate spaces, tools I used building businesses at my kitchen table, tools I used while raising a family, navigating pivots, and figuring out how to do life in real time. How to help other creators create their businesses. I don't just teach what I've learned, I teach what I've lived. Yet, I've been taught to execute with very little tools for my trade. So the first thing I do is not hand you the hammer. I hand you the milk. Because before we talk about pricing, marketing, systems, or profit, you have to feel safe enough to admit where you really are. And that can be scary, can't it? Most business owners are not stuck because they're incapable. They're stuck because no one ever slowed down long enough to help them see clearly. That's what I do. I walk into the room quietly, I look around, and I say, here's what's really going on. This is where your money is leaking, where your message is unclear, where you're overworking because you don't have systems, where you're trying to be someone you're not because you think that's what success is supposed to look like. And then, and only then, I'll show you something powerful. You already have what you need. You just haven't been taught how to use it yet. You don't need a new personality. You don't need to become louder. You don't need to copy someone on social media. You need structure that fits who you are. You need systems that support how you naturally work. You need strategy that comes from your life, not someone else's highlight reel. That's what sustainable success really is. That's what sustainable you stands for. It's not about doing more. It's not about doing what fits. The collective is here to show you that you can grow without burning out, so you can profit without performing, so you can lead without pretending. I'm not even here to be Deborah. I'm not here to be the general. I'm the tent woman. And if you're tired of trying to build your business from a stage you don't belong on, come on in, sit in the tent. Because in here, we use what's already in your hands. And we build something that lasts long term. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Happy Monday.